Story, so you have all the information you need. The woman who would eat Blue Finch's heart came from the west. Hair white as a winter rabbit, worn in thick ringlets down to her waist. The maidens of the village who tied their hair back in braids and tails later whispered among themselves, in the market, in the laundries, in the bathhouse, "What a brazen woman!" And even later, "Is that why he allowed it?" Blue Finch was a lucky child, born on the auspicious day in the third hour of the third day of the third month of the third season in his parents' bed. When his older sister Smoke placed him in their mother's arms, there was silence and then cooing. His father fumbled for a chair. Elder Auntie nodded as if a deal with the universe had been satisfied. Blue Finch was the only one of his mother's children to get her sapphire blue locks. His sisters, Smoke, Iron, and Stone, all inherited his father's gray, white, more gray hair. His mother hugged him close and whispered in his ear. It was an apology. The village was almost always the village. Only outsiders called it anything else. Most often, the Four Boundaries village, because forest, mountain, fields, and river were all within a day's walk. The woman from the west marched into the village early in the morning, her head covered in a silk scarf, a mule laden with packs behind her. She walked past the women on their way to the river, past the baker, past the magistrate's assistant who tried to get her name. She walked past everything until she reached the marketplace. She approached Little Spider, the weaver, first. "Where can I get the best cheese?" she asked. Little Spider stared at the fine weave of her white shirt, how high and stiff the collar was, and the odd row of polished white discs that went down the center of the garment. "Where can I get cheese?" she repeated. Little Spider roused himself from his fascination and said, "Hungry Owl is the one you want for the best cheese. His sons will be here later. Look for tall men with hair the color of butter. That will be the right booth." Others called it the Village of Four because the main exports were honey, wheat, beeswax, and fur. Luck did not make Blue Finch exempt from work. He got up just as early as his sisters, took his turn making breakfast twice a week with Elder Auntie. Unlike his sisters, he was not allowed into the village. In his 8th year, he asked why. "You'll understand when you're older," said Father. "Precious jewels can cause no end of trouble," said Mother. "Do you trust our judgment so little?" asked Elder Auntie. "It's because you smell. They don't allow stinky little brothers in the village," said Stone. "Why do you need to question everything? If Mother and Father and Elder Auntie say not to go into the village, it's for a good reason," said Iron. "Rare Emerald doesn't let his daughter come into the village either. Everyone says her hair is as green as moss," said Smoke. Blue Finch looked up from his cup of rosehip tea. Blue Finch looked up from his cup of rosehip tea. Steam rose from the cup and wreathed Smoke's sharp, angled face. For a moment he lost sight of where the steam ended and the fine pale gray of her hair began. He looked for the telltale crinkle around her eyes that meant teasing, but her face was drawn in worry. He took a sip of tea and put his hand on top of her fingers. She turned 15 last spring, and everything about her was long and large. Her strong broad shoulders, her endless stretch of legs, and the hair that fell to her waist when unbound. Blue Finch, already small for his age, felt like his namesake, tiny and flittering.